Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by Puscifer, Not Normal Isn't. So, we start off, the first impression is Chat Pile. You see it? The album art? I look at it and all I see is Cool World, but a rip-off. I mean, the picture in the album art is unique enough, that works, but the black outline to show that small box of the image, the normal font at the bottom, which looks a lot like the font they use for God's Country, and especially Cool World, even the colours, and the fact that they have the golden text that they use in the logo, like Chat Pile use for their logo, also in it. It's literally just intentional to rip that over, especially since this doesn't correlate in any way to Chat Pile. It just feels like, I like that style, I'm going to make it mine now, and I just don't understand why there's any appeal to doing that. So Puscifer is a side project of Maynard James Keenan from Tool fame, the lead singer of Tool. He also has another project which is more of a grunge, or post-grunge, I guess more hard rock sound would be better suited, known as A Perfect Circle, which I actually do enjoy that. I think, gonna be wholeheartedly say this, I think Murder Noms is probably my favourite project, or at least release from Maynard. I like Tool, but I'm not that big on them. I just feel like Murder Noms is just kind of a pretty sweet listen, and I guess it's more up my alley, what Perfect Circle are doing. Puscifer, I think, is probably the least up my alley. It's an artistic, alternative sound, and that's nothing I dislike. There's a lot of art rock bands that have some good ideas, and art rock is just a very, very broad genre. There's a lot of bands that kind of dabble with it. If it's something that doesn't feel natural, not natural, but if it's something that doesn't feel familiar, and it's very different, like what Radiohead were sort of experimenting into, some artists like Black Country New Roads, they are quite known for being in the kind of art rock feel, because it's so distinctive from a lot of the stuff that's been released around that point. It's something you haven't really heard of, and I guess that's what Puscifer is trying to be, something you haven't heard of. But with Normal Isn't, it's something that I wish I never heard of, because the sound we're getting here is just absolutely messy, it's clunky, and we're just kind of getting writing that just feels so pretentious and just over the top dramatic for something that doesn't need to have that whatsoever. I like the gothic dark wave feel this album has, but I think that's the best factor this album has going for it. There's a lot of stuff that I just think drags this down. I don't find a single song to be a pleasant listen. The instrumentation is just, I don't really know what it wants to be. It's not as bad as the lyrics though. I think instrumentally there is some charm and novelty to this. The quiet parts isn't too bad. There are some moments on some of the tracks, especially on the second half, which are okay to me. Impetuous, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know, isn't too bad instrumentally, but it's the lyrics and the kind of voices we hear, like Thrust for example. I don't like the part where it sounds like Maynard is just getting a little bit rude, and like talking like that. It's just like, this doesn't sound cool. It's just like, it's trying to be quirky and fun, but it just kind of comes off as just a slop of annoying ideas that Maynard wants to throw out onto a release, and I honestly struggle to see appeal to this. Unless you're a huge Maynard fan and you like your Puscifer, I don't see who this really is for other than fans. There's just not really any way this is going to reach a lot of new listeners, and a lot of them are going to think, I like that, because it's not in a way that it's, oh, I like how experimental it is. It's more so, what the fuck did I listen to for 54 minutes? It's just an absolute weird ass listen. It's just so, it just doesn't feel right. It's not creepy or anything. I just feel like it just doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't feel like you're listening to a proper album. I just feel like it's sounds that shouldn't be correlated into this sort of direction. A lot of the stuff just comes off as very mediocre at best, with a lot of work needed to it. A lot of it just kind of feels like deconstructed takes of what Maynard wanted from previous Puscifer releases, and maybe some ideas that didn't make the cut for some Tool records. I don't know, but this just kind of doesn't get me hyped for any of his other projects, because if this is what's coming out for the current new release, then I'm not really excited. I don't really understand the lyrics as well, because you get stuff like, "You're an idiot, you're a bunghole," and I don't know if that's supposed to be clever. You just literally took something from Beavis and Butthead. I know he's a fan of it, but just using stuff like that in lyrics, it doesn't make it feel like, oh snap, he said that. It just kind of makes it look more tacky and dumb, in my opinion. It's just not a very fun record, and I think when it tries to be fun, it just fails and falls flat on its face. It just kind of comes off as a very disappointing, lackluster alt-rock, art-rock record, and I don't think the overall direction is terrible. There's definitely potential for some better sounds. I think the second half is where some of the elements start kind of feeling a bit more natural, but a lot of it feels more redundant. Like, I just don't see who this was really made for. Unless you're a big fan, as I said, of Maynard, I don't think there's going to be many people thinking that this is pretty good. It's just a very ballsy, weird release that I just can't really get into, and along with the Chat Pile knockoff, I don't see what Chat Pile have anything to do with this, because it's not sludgy, it has no correlation or any relation in any way or sound to Chat Pile's music, and I don't really know, to be honest. I'm struggling to find who this is for. I just think, personally, we're at a point where I don't think we need to have any more Puscifer releases, but it just kind of feels like this has become Maynard's dumping ground for ideas to see if it sticks, and I just don't think this really sticks whatsoever. It's a hard to listen to album. Some of the stuff just feels like bloated filler that doesn't need to exist, and I don't see myself wanting to go back to this. There's not really anything that comes off this peak or that interesting on this album. It's just lyrics drag this down. Ideas just feel very forced and just nonsensical, and overall as a listen, just not something I want to go for again. I'm gonna have to give this a 1.5 out of 5. I don't know if this is going to be a controversial opinion, but that's my opinion, and I just think this is just a very hard, awkward album to listen to. So I hope you'll enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.